It was a quiet Thursday night in Seoul. The kind of night when the city lights flicker like scattered stars, and time moves just a little slower. Inside a cozy studio lit with soft lamps and warm tones, two figures sat in front of a camera, their smiles familiar to millions. For ARMY, the scene was nothing new, just another casual livestream with Jimin and Jungkook, two souls intertwined by years of music, laughter, and shared dreams. But something was different that night. Jimin's smile trembled at the edges. His hands fidgeted slightly, fingers tightening around the edge of the table. And Jungkook, though playful at first, seemed to catch on quickly. His gaze turned sharper, searching, almost protective. The silence before the storm was subtle. A brief pause in conversation. A deep breath. And then, "I need to say this now, before it's too late." Jimin's voice was a whisper wrapped in the weight of years. The chat exploded with confusion and concern, but the room inside the screen fell impossibly still. Jungkook froze, the humor in his eyes draining away as Jimin turned toward him. What followed wasn't a confession of career plans or a hidden project. It wasn't even about the band. It was a moment so raw, so intimate, that it felt like the veil between the stage and the soul had been torn away. "I can't keep pretending anymore," Jimin said, his voice barely above a murmur. "Something happened, something that involved you and me. And I know we never said it aloud, but I heard it. In your silences, in your songs, in how you looked away when the words came too close." 15 seconds passed, 15 seconds that stretched into forever. Neither of them moved. The air crackled not with drama, but with the fragile truth of two people caught in the gravity of their own hearts. Then Jungkook laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was jagged, sharp, the kind that comes out when you don't know whether to scream or cry. And then he looked down, gripping his jeans like they were the only thing keeping him grounded. He didn't respond. Not then. Not aloud. The livestream ended in silence. A silence that echoed louder than any encore. The days that followed felt surreal. Jungkook appeared in public, still performing, still smiling, but it was different. "He looks like someone who left his soul somewhere else," one fan tweeted. Jimin withdrew. He avoided eye contact during interviews, his once vibrant energy replaced by a quiet sadness. When asked, he only said, "I don't regret telling the truth. I just didn't know how much it would cost." And then came the songs. A surprise track from Jimin, dropped without promotion, carried the weight of his heart. "I stood too close to the sun," he sang, "never thinking you'd burn because of me." Not long after, Jungkook canceled the release of his solo project. The official statement cited personal reasons. ARMY didn't need an explanation. They already knew. Whispers turned to speculation. Fans dug up past interactions, the way their eyes lingered too long, the lyrics that answered one another across albums. A former stylist claimed Jungkook once commissioned a ring with the initials JM engraved inside. "They were always poetry to each other," a fan wrote on a now viral thread, but maybe the world never gave them the courage to read their lines out loud. Then, like a quiet storm breaking, Jimin appeared alone in a Weverse Live. No makeup, puffy eyes, a broken voice. "I'm not okay," he said, gently. "And maybe I never was. But I waited too long to be honest. I was afraid that loving someone so deeply would mean losing everything else. And now I don't know if I already have." In another corner of the world, Jungkook stepped onto a stage, unannounced, and sang an unreleased song. No fanfare. Just a bare soul in melody. "I'm not your home anymore, but I still leave the light on in the window. If you want to come back, you know the way. Just know, I'm hurting too." Even fans who had no idea about the livestream felt the tremor in those words. Then came the photo. A quiet post from a production staff member. Jimin and Jungkook in the practice room, not speaking, but sitting side by side. their expressions heavy with unspoken things. No caption, no explanation, just a window into something fragile. Days later, said in an interview, "Sometimes, we hurt the ones we care about the most, without meaning to. But growth comes when we face the pain, not when we run from it." The fandom clung to that. A resurfaced training video added more depth to the story. In it, a young Jimin had once said to Jungkook, "If I ever change, don't let me lose you." The words hit differently now. And then Jungkook posted a painting on Instagram. Two figures standing in the rain, still holding the ends of the same umbrella. The caption, one word, always. Jimin responded by deleting all his old posts. Everything. A reset. A silent scream. "I've never felt more afraid to love two people at once," a fan confessed in a comment thread, "because it feels like watching a love story the world was never ready for." Then came the final act. Jimin announced a solo concert with only 12 hours notice. No backup dancers, no glitter, just him and a microphone. Before the last song, he spoke. "You all want to know what really happened. But some truths aren't meant to be explained, only felt. Jungkook, if you're watching, thank you for being my light. I'm sorry I stayed in the dark for so long." And then he cried. Not a performer's cry, a human cry. Deep, honest, healing. 3 days later, Jungkook posted a single story, a softly glowing window light in the middle of the night. No words, just light, hope. "I think they still love each other," a fan wrote. "Maybe they always will." This wasn't just a story about two idols. It was about fear, vulnerability, and the courage it takes to speak the truth when silence feels safer. It was about the cost of honesty, and the beauty of hearts that still reach for one another even after everything. Because sometimes, the most powerful love stories aren't the ones that end in perfect kisses, but the ones that survive the breaking. And maybe, just maybe, the light in that window means the story isn't over yet.